saying this is supposed to be a distraction or whatever, this how upbeat this show is going to be. I just want you all to know there's something I found interesting. What are you looking at? What I've just shared with you is the rate of deaths per 100,000 persons for youngsters between the ages of 1 and 24. Now, there is a more specific stat line out there that focuses strictly on young people, 19 and under. This is one that I was able to pull up most recently. The orange line or brown line is the rate of what used to be the #1 killer of young people. That is motor vehicle crashes. Motor vehicle crashes were the #1 killer of young people. #1 cause of death in America amongst young people, motor vehicle crashes. Until 2016. And that's where firearms became the #1 killer of young people at a rate of almost 11 per 100,000 in this country. No, you heard me right. 100,000 per 100,000 people. The rate of people under the age of 20 to die at the hand of a gun, to have a bullet enter their body, has surpassed the #1 killer of all young people, which is motor vehicle crashes. Just thought I'd share that with you all, and I don't want to belabor that point too much. We do have a great show, but before I begin, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this one thing, and excuse me while I adjust my information here. And it's been bugging me ever since I saw this on Sunday. A man born without a jaw found love after a lifetime of pain. Quote, I deserved more. This is the New York Post. This isn't the National Enquirer. This isn't the Star News. This is a real thing. And there's a gentleman out there without a jaw, but now with the fiancee. Who's that fiancee? That young lady right there. This picture is if there is a lid for every pot. That's what this picture stands for. Yo, this man was born without a jaw. He couldn't even say, will you marry me? He had to sign it out because he's never talked before because he was born without a jaw. He's 41 years old. She's 39. That's his fiance. Oh no, I'm not done. There's a better look at her. And there's a look at him. And he said, I'm not without a heart. I'm not without a brain. I am not without a soul. Those are his quotes. But he is without a jaw. And he got a fiance. So every one of you at home, look at me. Let's stop looking at him now. Every one of you at home who thinks that it's too late for you to do something or nobody wants you, there's a man who was born without 40% of his face, without a jaw, straight dropped off there. Look, that's a real man. Does he have money? No. Does he eat with his mouth? No. He eats through that tube you see there. Does he have a fiance? Yes. And he's only 5 feet tall. because of his born deformity. And she is a banger. And they met on like Tinder or something. There's a lid for every pot, to quote my friend Demetria Lucas. So ladies and gentlemen, you can be all depressed as you want about your station in life, but cheer up, because there's brothers without jaws getting women. Let's start the show. He ain't got no jaw. It's the Shawn Show, ladies and gentlemen. Usually with Tyrone. Tyrone's not here with us tonight. But we're still presented by Body Butter Bakery. On the show tonight, Dr. Barbara Matthews, debuting as an author for the first time with her book, Perspectives. Golf pro, Josh Jackson. Sorry, Josh, I got my face in the way. But they know what you look like, bro. Big hitter Josh Jackson now, second hour. And CC Kat Solomon, author and writer of urban fantasy fiction series novels. She is a USA Today bestseller. But first, we're going to get settled in first. And, it's been a crazy week. But I'm going to have my man, Dr. Ira Davis, come in. We're about to pull him up so he can do what we often ask him to do, and that's explain the ish. So, if brother... We're going to pull him up, and he's going to explain a very important issue for us, and then we're going to get started with the rest of our show. Dr. Davis, are you there?
I'm here, brother.
Oh. Pardon me.
All right, can you hear me?
Just realized that I don't have my ear set on because I was too busy looking at brothers who ain't got jaws with badass girls. You see that?
I saw that.
I mean, she bad too.
It's all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do this. I can't say nothing else.
You just can't say nothing else about that.
I can't say nothing else.
Well, what you can say, Dr. Davis, is we have you on weekly on part of the program that we call Ira Explains the Ish, and you are a certified doctor. You're
right.
You're an educated man, and
right.
You're my best friend
right.
since what, 5th grade or 6th grade? We were rivals in 5th grade. I think we became friends.
No, middle school.
Middle school.
Middle school. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm gonna play your theme music real quick.
All right.
And now it's time for Ira Explains the Ish. Take it away, Ira Davis. Dr. Davis, yes, it's time for you to explain some ish. What ish do you have to explain for us today?
All right. Ish that I'm explaining today is Africa Day.
Africa Day. All right.
Yes.
All right. So, Dr. Davis, can you explain this ish in 2 minutes or less?
Yes. Africa Day, formerly known as African Freedom Day and African Liberation Day, is an annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity on May 25th, 1963. It is celebrated in various countries on the African continent as well as around the world. The organization was transformed into the African Union on July the 9th in Durban, South Africa. But the holiday continues to be celebrated on May the 25th. Again, the first Congress of States was held in Accra, Ghana on the 15th of April, 1958. And it was convened by Prime Minister of Ghana at that time, who was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and comprised of representatives from Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, Libya, Morocco, Sudan, Tunisia, the Union of the Peoples of the Cameroon, and Coast, being Ghana. And the Union of South Africa was not invited at that time because, of course, endorsed apartheid. And main theme was to free themselves from the domination and exploitation of European nations. So from that day forth, they began to set forth the founding of the African Freedom Day as a day to mark each year onward for the progress and liberation of the movement, and to symbolize the determination of the people of Africa to free themselves from foreign domination and exploitation. All right. And that is the Ish Africa Day,
Ooh.
May 25th.
Boy, you explained a whole continent in 2 minutes time, bro. You are really good. You are really good at explaining that Ish. Africa Day, May 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this.
What's up?
You teach in classrooms, correct?
Correct.
Can you explain what's going on with guns and protecting our children and the people who educate them and steward them when we entrust them to do so? Can you discuss that? Can you explain any of that whatsoever?
Well, I see the school as a microcosm of society. And what we have gone towards now is more security. And now you have, more guns are in the school system. We have an SRO officer, he walks around, with he's a law enforcement officer, with a gun. And also at this point where we are in society, especially coming out of this post-pandemic era, the schools are kind of crazy. Like, my wife taught at what would be considered a bad school. It was bad before the pandemic. So now it's a worse school. I taught at what would be considered a good school before the pandemic. But now there are bad incidents happening at my school. It's like on the episodes of Batman where they would release the inmates from Arkham Asylum. It's like the kids coming back to school. It's like they have all this pent-up rage and emotion, and they're unleashing it, they're, in the schoolhouse. And one thing we got to understand, I think they said about this young man, I think they said he was being bullied or something that did the shooting. It is like, unlike when you and I, when we were in school, it's like school ended at what time? 2:15, I think, 2:45, whatever time.
For high school, yes.
When it ended, it was over with until it started again the next day, right? But now in the era of social media and all this stuff here, the same drama that they're having at school is continuing on at home via social media, and they're carrying this drama on. So now we're having fights at school that immediately starting once the kids get off the school bus or once they get out of their car. The fights are starting at 7:45 because they've been talking trash since they left school the next day online. And now you have this thing also where everybody is in this mess too, and they're feeding into that. All right. And so instead of helping to alleviate the pressure of things, they are pressuring, these things to happen. And so that's and so now instead of breaking fights up and things like that, everybody's pulling out their phones so they can video the hot new fights. I mean, they have fight mixtapes, man. They'll go catch all the fights and everything that happened at school, put it on a channel, add some music on it and everything, commentary, and they're doing that. So, I mean, this is kind of where we are, right now. And then, like you say, with the guns, of course, everybody think, everybody answers to pull the gun out, especially here in Georgia, we're an open carry state now. You can, carry a gun and everything like that. So, so everybody's answer, is the gun. And so we got to remember that there are people who want to reasonably use their weapon, but when you have a weapon inside the hands of a criminal, he's not going to responsibly use that weapon. He or she is not going to responsibly use that weapon. They're going to use their weapon in whatever way they see fit, because they're not thinking rationally in that particular moment. All they want to do is get done what they need to get done, with that weapon. But the guns have been around, for a while. I mean, when you and I were in school, in high school, I believe the campus officers, I believe they were armed at that time, and that's been almost 30 years ago. That we were in school. So now, but the thing is now but back then they never really had to shoot back, or shoot at a student or anything. Right. But now, we have this culture that, kind of sensationalizes violence, and the kids are growing up on video game. You can hit reset on the video game and come back, right? And you got kids who are going through these video games, killing everything. They're kind of being desensitized to all this stuff. And there are kids facing a lot of pressures. I mean, at my school, and this is at a predominantly African American school. And there we've had, suicides, and kids, have all types of mental breakdowns, and all these things are occurring within the student. The reason I say, in the African American school, because these are things that we may consider a part, more of the dominant society. Some things that they're going through, but these are things that are happening, in the Black community as well. So we're seeing all this stuff. So imagine, if our community is seeing these things, imagine what the dominant community is seeing.
He's Dr. Ira Davis. He explains the ish. I know we'll have a good time with him when he explains the ish, but he's always on point, and that's why he's my friend, and that's why I love you. I may have an overtime later if you want to come back and talk more about this or anything else. But you know where to find me.
But for the sake of the spot, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Can't explain that ish.
There
Dr. Ira Davis, everybody. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, brother.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Yeah, so there you have it. Crazy time to live in. You all saw Kim Dudley pop in there during that bit, but I had to make a little bit of room so Ira can have some room to say what he had to say there, because it's very important that we keep these things at the fore. Anyone who has children, or anyone who's just a human being, because still on my page, if you go to my page right now at J. Shawn Durham, follow me at J. Shawn Durham Inc. here on the Shawn Show. You still see in my bio is the link to the buffalo tree of charities that you can contribute to. Because remember, that happened in a grocery store, and now that grocery store is still closed because it's being processed for evidence purposes, that is a food desert. And there are people who desperately need food and other amenities. And yeah, so that's where we are. I was waiting here, stalling to see where Kim went. Kim, are you there? Kim, are you there? You look great when I saw you. Is she there? Is she there? Is she there? There she is.
I'm here, but mine keep like jumping and pausing and freezing. So I hope I'm coming through clearly. I don't know. I think it's the room I'm in.
Well, I see you, and you look great as usual. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kim Dudley, owner of the Body Butter Bakery, the sponsor that you see right there. This is the Shawn Show with Tyrone. Tyrone can't be with us tonight. He's actually out celebrating things with his boo thing.
I already know. I already know.
Celebrating things with his boo thing, etc. and so forth. And they're having birthday shenanigans, and God bless them. So
you're not getting them back. You know that, right?
Probably not. And also the Boston Celtics play tonight, and he's a Celtics guy because he claims Massachusetts as well. So whatever. Let them have their fun. I may not get him back, but that's okay. It's a Shawn Show with Tyrone, not Tyrone Show with Shawn. So we'll keep rocking. What's new in the Body Butter Bakery? I got Dr. Matthews waiting to talk to us about this hot new book that she has going on, as well as other stuff. And only got a few minutes before they shut us down here before the second hour starts. So what you got going on in the bakery?
I re-released the shower gels that I had up before. I only released a few. I wanted to test it out, get some feedback. So I just put some more up on the website. I don't know how long I'll keep those up because I need to replace them with a different consistency. I'd like to do foaming body washes instead of the gel. I need to figure out some things and make some adjustments with the shower gel. So whatever is up there now, hi Tilly, thank you. Whatever is up there now, that'll probably be it for a while. So if you wanted shower gels, now's a good time to get them. Everything is still 30% off, pre-Memorial Day sale, no code needed, 30% off everything on the site.
Ooh, 30% off, no code needed. So Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day coming up. You got some plans for Memorial Day?
I have a date with Layla Hathaway on Saturday. I can't wait.
I'm a big Layla Hathaway fan. Does she know that you're coming on this date, though? Or is it just a concert?
She gonna know when I get there and I'm front row. She gonna know.
Front row? Where's the concert?
Mableton, Georgia. Never been. But it's at a venue where you can bring food, so I'm excited.
Okay. Mableton, Georgia. That's just north, I believe, of Atlanta, or it's one of those directions in the Atlanta area. Mableton, Georgia. So you're gonna enjoy Layla Hathaway. Awesome. I love Layla.
Yeah. Me too.
Could you give her a kiss for me?
Won't be doing that.
Hater. Kim Dudley, everybody. She's got shower gels and vegan chapstick and other things available, and she looks lovely as well. As you can see, she's not just a creator of the body butter, she is a client. And what scents and flavors do you have of these gels, Kim, before I let you go?
Champagne apple honey, strawberry lemonade, and lemon pound cake, the 3 most popular scents. Tilly, I will not bring the body butters back until October because it's melting. They'll melt. If I can get a commercial freezer and put some ice packs in there, then I'll bring them back. But right now, I don't have the space or money for a commercial freezer, so it's gonna be a while for the body butter. Sorry.
Okay, no body butter until October, she's told us. Maybe we could bump that up to September, right after Labor Day. It won't be as hot. But she said now that it's summertime is coming up and the heat is happening, she does not want to ship you all a melted product because it is literally butter.
Correct.
But she does have her body gels. She has her vegan chapsticks and some other products at the Body Butter Bakery shop. Go visit bodybutterbakery.com. You see it pinned on my site. You see it behind me in the sign. And now we're going to bring in Dr. Matthews. With that said, thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. And we keep the show moving. So you'll just see this widescreen on me for just a quick second until she pops in.
Dr. Walker,
Did
you
I catch
keep
you the
calling
best
me
time?
Matthews. Huh?
I did say that. Oh, scheisse. That's right. Okay, so that tells you how far back we go. And that name is so mothballed. that is totally my bad. It's like, well, that's how I first met you. Shit, my bad. That is not even on the cover of your fantastic book, Perspective, by Dr. Barbara A. Walker. And it's Walker. And man, I just saw G fly in here too. Sorry, G. He's like, G, like, shit, what? I gave her my name. Will you use it? I'm sorry, brother. I'm so sorry. I apologize. You know, that was 20 years ago I met this person. Anyway, Dr. Walker, Barbara Alice Walker, is here in two capacities. She's not only just an awesome Johns Hopkins educated physician and medical doctor, she is now a novelist. First of all, tell me, how does it feel to see and make this thing happen, right? Because you've always been a creative person, but you finally put down some things to words. You've always been an expressive person. You're not just a science geek, but you put some pen to paper and you finally printed something. Tell us how that felt.
It felt amazing. Like the first time I actually saw my book, it felt like it was somebody else's book. I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like a real book.
Right. It's all hardcover and everything. And by the way, that's her son who's done the photos. That's the cover. She's mentioned her son, is he still in Australia doing animation and stuff like that?
Yep, he still is.
Yeah, and he's put together some fantastic art for this great book, and I'm still reading it. But it's quite a tome. But yeah, you did this thing. You've been playing with this idea for, I know, at least 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. I remember you sent me a couple of passages. And before I ask you some medical questions, because I want to get into some medical stuff so we can get that out of the way. Tell me, from what I saw, I remember you gave me some Delilah stories, and we talked. We had some back and forth conversation about where you were going with that. From that, the infant stages of that to what it became, what it ended up being. What were the evolutionary processes? What did you see that changed? What occurred for you? What made you say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, I'm basically a chicken. Delilah's story was pretty intense. It was a lot. And I didn't want that to be my first book. You know?
So that first book would have been burned, you said? It would have been burned somewhere and banned?
They would have banned it in like 5 or 6 states. It would have been bad. So I'll wait to get banned with my next book.
Oh, wait a minute. I see somebody here. I see my man Tyrone may have actually showed up. If so, I want to bring him in on this. So if that's the case, we're going to bring him in. And while I invite him, let's ask you a question real quick about the current craze right now. The whole not body butter, goodness. Monkeypox. What the hell is monkeypox? Is that a real thing we need to be worried about? What can you give us in like a bite-sized summation of what this monkeypox craze is?
It is unlikely to become anything we need to worry about. The only thing that gives me pause in saying that is apparently it has mutated to now be sexually transmitted also. And it is not clear if it's sexually transmitted before you get the bumps or not. So like, usually it's kind of like you can tell when you have that. You get a fever pretty quick. You're usually not contagious until after you get the fever, you get the bumps and stuff. So you know when you have it, so you stay your ass home and it's fine, right? But if you can transmit it sexually before you get the bumps, we're not in quarantine anymore. Houston, we have a problem.
This is a good old-fashioned sexually transmitted disease now, then.
Well, it does both. So it still transmits the good old-fashioned way by contact and close airway exposure. So it's not like COVID where it spreads through the whole room. It spreads like if we're having a face-to-face conversation pretty close to each other, but not if you're across the table, if that makes sense. But yeah, the sexual transmission is like an added element. But wait, there's more.
You thought we were just messing with you. Just wait till we add some pepper to this virus. Okay,
Exactly.
So the long and short of it, we don't really have anything to worry about with this monkeypox. It's not as severe as smallpox or anything like that. It's just pox.
Well,
I don't know.
It's pretty gruesome. It's not as bad as smallpox, but about 1 in 10 people in Africa who get monkeypox actually die of it. That's a pretty high death rate. For perspective, COVID at its worst was like 1 in 1,000 would die from it. But the good thing about it is it's not really easy to spread. It really requires close contact, and most people know when they have it. So it's not like COVID where low-key you're giving it to your grandma and you don't even know you're sick,
We are here with Dr. Barbara Alice Walker, and she's going to talk about her book as we're going to transition from monkeypox, because this is the Shawn show. Resented, because the P dropped off. It's resented by Body Butter Bakery after that monkeypox stopped the conversation. It's like the P was like, I'm out of here. So we're going to talk about the book, but before we do that, one last thing. COVID is not gone. People are like having their hurrahs and everything with hey, COVID, yay. What can you tell us about the stage that we're in with COVID? Some say we're in another wave. Some say, okay, it's nothing really to worry about because now we have a regular cycle of boosters and things like that. What can you say to that as we welcome Ty to the show? What can you say about
Hey,
COVID?
how you doing?
What can you say with COVID right now, Barbara, before we get on with your book?
So it depends. If you're vaccinated, it kind of doesn't matter, because if you get it, you're going to get sick as hell. You're going to be out of commission for 5 to 7 days, even if you're vaccinated. For most people, that's how it's going to go. But it's not going to kill you, okay? If you are not vaccinated, it is still killing people. It has got no problem killing people. And you can believe that hype that Omicron is not as bad as you want to. The only reason Omicron has not been as bad as Delta is because more people are vaccinated. And more people have had other COVID viruses, infections, so their immune system's kind of used to it a little bit, even though they don't have immunity. So we never drop below 400 or 500 deaths a day, ever. And so if you do the math on that, that's still hundreds of thousands of people a year dying, So it is not gone. It is still killing people. It is not planned. And if you're not vaccinated, you definitely need to be protecting yourself. And even if you are, why would you want to be sick for a week? Just protect yourself until it dies back down again.
All right. With that said, Ty, how you been? Have you been out there getting monkeypox and COVID?
No. Luckily, no. Just been chilling, doing a little bit of traveling, so that's why I'm pretty much running late tonight. How you doing, Dr.?
I'm doing good. How you been?
I'm good. What's up, Shawn? You good?
What's up,
Everybody
brother?
good?
To see you. Everybody's good. Good to see you, man.
And IG land. Yeah.
I will say this. You got to get your hands, every time we bring up a product, Ty ends up buying it immediately.
Okay.
You got to get your hands on this book. We're going to transition now to this book, Perspectives, by Barbara A. Walker. She didn't put the doctor in there because she ain't talking no medical stuff, but she's getting biblical. And usually when people say get biblical, they mean sexual, they mean intense. And that's about right here. This is this is a book that focuses on three, some would call them notorious. I don't think they should be called notorious characters from the Bible. We have Sarah, we have Hagar, and we have, do we say Ado or Ado?
Ado.
Ado. And Ado is the show closer because she's the woman who may or may not have been turned into a pillar of salt. Spoiler alert. But first of all, it's a fantastic read. It's plainly written. It's very modern in its presentation. And there's some things that you deliver, like you'll have Lot complain like, yo, you don't want to do such and such for me sexually, so I don't feel blah blah blah. There's conversations in here that people have about their regular 21st century relationships, and you present this stuff from the Bible through these three women's eyes. So let's talk about the title, and let's talk about why you decided to do this book as your first venture.
Okay, so I was saying before that basically I was shy about putting Delilah and Jezebel and them out there on the first go. So I'm going to do that later. Not that these stories are, virginal or anything for sure, but they're not as jiggy as those stories are. So that's why this one and not that one. But I chose the name Perspectives because basically women don't really have a voice in the Bible for the most part. So these are fictional stories to show what their perspectives might have been on stories that some of us know from the Bible. Not everybody reads the Bible, but some of us know the story from the Bible. So when you read it, if you know the stories from the Bible, the craziest parts are the parts that are actually from the Bible. Like Abraham and Sarah being sister and brother, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's like a real thing. I didn't make that part up, but I made a whole bunch of other stuff up. But that's why perspective. So you get Hagar's perspective, you get Sarah's perspective. Ado's perspective is the most unique perspective because most of her information about Abraham is hearsay. So she's like what the rumor mill was saying about the situation around Abraham. That's sort of like who she is in it. But she also tells her own story, which is an extremely interesting story in its own right. She's actually my favorite story because it's 90% made up.
Well, I was really getting into that one because I started there. I hopscotched around to different bits, but you also have a few footnotes here as far as like the Bible passages as well, because that's the research writer in you. But I mean, I was just really taken by the modernity in the presentation of these women's trials. I mean, this could have been like a novel from any type of book series about women who feel repressed or what have you, or trying to express themselves. And to take the biblical characters, these three women, I thought was pretty awesome. And I think you did a great job. And I'm still digging into it. Ty, do you have a question for Barbara since you just showed up? I want you to get into
No,
it.
it's very interesting. I actually just ordered the book.
Yay!
I told you.
By the way,
I told you.
I have that in the Bible, believe it or not. I actually started reading this book, this Read With Me Bible, with my daughter. So I'm anxious to see, the stories that you have in yours. So
Don't read it with your daughter. Don't
Do not do that. Do not do that. Do not do that, Ty. Do not.
I know. It should be fun. I do have a mental health, tonight too. So I do have to break off. So
No sweat.
I just
No
been to
sweat.
say hello. Yeah.
Yeah. We ain't seen Ty in a month of Sundays, which could also be the name of this book, A Month of Sundays. But I know you got a break for mental health. I'll be talking to you later, and good luck to your Celtics.
For sure.
I hate Celtics. We're good luck to your Celtics.
Okay. I might come back. If it's still
Yeah,
on, all
come
right?
on back. Yeah, you
Okay.
know how it works.
Good to see you, Dr.
Later,
Walker.
Ty.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, we do have about 10-15 minutes here in this segment here with Dr. Barbara Walker. I'm not going to call you doctor anymore because you're novelist Barbara Walker, and her book is Perspectives. And I wish you had a subtitle because it feels like it deserves a subtitle. What would you say the subtitle would be for this collection of short stories?
If it was gonna have a subtitle, 3 women, 3 stories, 1 truth.
Ooh. And I appreciate you adding me in the acknowledgments. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I do want to read this little bit, and this the very last few paragraphs from the book, and it's from Ada's perspective. She says, "As we strive to become our best, we must appreciate the journey of our lives. There is a beginning. There are lessons and experiences. There are mistakes. There are victories and losses. And if we are lucky, there is growth. We must be gentle in our judgment of ourselves and learn to forgive our own misdeeds as God forgives us. We must forgive those around, for they, too, are on a journey and only God knows their destiny. Those of us who seek truth make changes in our lives as we grow in wisdom. But there is no perfection on this earth. There is only our current best. And with a mustard seed of faith in God's grace, it is enough." Signed, Ada. How long did it take you to write that closeout?
5 minutes at most. That actually is the whole point of the story. That actually is the whole entire point of the book in a little paragraph, I guess you'd call it. Part of what inspired this whole perspectives thing was this judgment culture we have now. And how we're so quick to throw somebody away every time they make a mistake or they say something we didn't like, throw the whole person away, you know? That's not, first of all, it's not sustainable. You're not gonna have anybody left because all of us do stupid shit. That's just what it is, right?
Right.
But I wanted people to see how 3 people can experience basically the same circumstance and see it totally differently. And how there may be things going on in the background that you may not know about that informs sort of why they're acting the way they are. And if you read all 3 stories, one of the cool things is you'll get backstory about why Hagar did something that Sarah was talking about. You'll get background on why Sarah got so mad that she hit Hagar. You'll get background on why Sarah hates Ada so much and why she acted the way she did. Like, it's like it fills in the gap. So Sarah already told you she don't like her, right? But then you get to kind of understand who she is, and then it's kind of like, well, Sarah might have been wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't even really know her, and she's judging her harshly and all this kind of thing. So it's fun to kind of see it, how people judge each other, and it may not even be true.
And the passages I read, they're not completely siloed stories, like you say. There is bleed over effect, very subtly or just naturally. It's like, okay, that's the reason why this, like you said, it's if you're a fan of anthologies that tie together somewhat, like a Pulp Fiction, but not out of order or what have you. This sort of does that because it does reflect back on other things, and Ado is mentioning things about Sarah and what have you, and it's well thought out. I mean, it's 426 pages, so I hope it would be well thought out. Let's talk about that. 426 pages, Bob.
So it's not really 426 pages.
It's
so
spaced out, but
exactly. So I actually redid it and got rid of the spaces. I made a rookie mistake. When you put it in the Kindle, you leave it double spaced, but when you submit it for publishing, you have to single space it. So I didn't do that. So it's actually, let me see, 249 pages.
That's what I thought, okay? Because, I've done this book thing, and I have my copy over here. And, when it's properly, I won't say properly spaced, when it's spaced differently, it's not as intimidating as it looks like it is right here. It looks like the Bible. It looks like a textbook. It looks like, and now Rick Warren presents perspectives.
This is what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah. When it's, when it's not on steroids.
But I will say with the 40-plus-year-old eyes, the space one is way easier to read. Like, yeah.
It is. It has warmer. It has warmer pages. And you did this. You went through this basically yourself, right? I mean, you hired your son as the cover artist. He has some great portraits of these women inside the book.
Right.
It has cream paper, the ink, the font, everything. This is what you did from cradle to grave. And we're going to have C.C. Solomon, an independent urban fiction writer, fantasy writer, on the next hour to talk about her process with her string of books. But you did this. This was your first go at it. So tell me why you wanted to do this, your first go. Because there's a lot of people out there who say they have a book in them, but they don't know where to begin, or they begin and then they just stop for whatever reason because there's too many hurdles.
So I actually had that happen. I have another book that I've been writing for like 5 years or something. But it's a long story, and it's a long continuous story. It's not like this 3 short stories. It's like one long story. And when you work, it's hard to sort of like keep up with it. And then by the time you get back to writing, you forgot half the story, or like there are things you got to go back and look, and then you just never do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
My brother actually asked me to think about writing a short story just to see what it's like to finish something, right? And so that's what I did. And after I wrote one, it just felt natural to keep going. And I learned so much. The first story I wrote was actually Delilah. And in researching Delilah, I learned so much about that that I had never been taught in Bible school or like in church. Like there's so much more to that story when you read it and you're actually like studying it and you look at Judaic texts and see what they had to say about the situation, and you really dig into it. It's like, I don't know, you see it differently. And so after doing it that one time, it was natural to just kind of want to keep doing it. So I've actually done 7 women, and these are just the first 3.
So we can have a Perspectives 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, so the next book is going to be called Stone Catchers. It's called Stone Catchers because it's all women that are perceived to be bad girls.
Ooh, girl, you can catch you a stone. You about to get this brick, you harlot. You about to get stoned.
Every last one of them could have caught a brick at some point.
And let me tell you, so not just to play up this element of the book, but when I'm reading, and it's still clinically done, but it's still graphic. As a man, you hear a woman talk about what this one man makes her wet, her wetness, or the size of one of her biblical paramours. It's like, wow, okay. And I'm learning something. I'm like, this is a page turner. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a page turner. This ain't just the Bible, you know. But the Bible has the most X-rated stories. They'll just say it in like a sentence. There'll be like one verb, but they won't explain what that verb means. But it meant David was knocking them down, or something like that, right? And so
exactly.
You just go into detail like, no, this is what happened. This is what they were experiencing. And now put yourself in these women's eyes where the men have all this power, and these are the transgressions that are happening from their POV. Right.
There's a part in Sarah's story where she's sort of she's figured out that Abram is going to do what he's going to do, and he's not really trying to leave Egypt. He's over there having himself a good time, and he's not really trying to leave. And so she winds up getting drunk that night, and she goes to spend some time with the Pharaoh. And I'm looking for that part right now, actually. And she's in his room, and he's just like, I just want to talk, this kind of thing. And so this is what it says. I'm just going to read it. Pharaoh Khufu reached for my hands and pulled me close, looking into my eyes as he spoke. I know you do not know me. but I will treat you only with love and kindness. I do not plan to rush you into this. I want you to know me before you decide. I love my wives, and I'm dedicated to them as I will be to you. I cannot indulge your dream of one man, one woman working together and forming a family, but I can promise that should we wed, I will no longer entertain the harem. I will give you time to make your decision, and I will not pressure you, but I must taste your lips, even if just this once. Before I could object, his soft lips were on mine. He released my hands and pulled me close. I could feel him against me, the strength of his arms, the firmness of his chest, the large bulge in his loins. Though in my mind I wanted only Abram, my body responded to Pharaoh's touch. I could not stop myself. I returned his kiss. ... So this is when Sarah and Abram were in Egypt, and she was pretending to just be his sister, and Pharaoh wanted to marry her.
Whew. So that's when I used to teach Sunday school for my dad. There was always a section in the little pamphlets called "Applying the Lesson to Life," and it sound like your passages are applying the Bible lessons to life. It's making them real life stories.
Yep.
I find it interesting that it's all the Old Testament, and I always thought that the Old Testament was the juiciest, most salacious. God was busy, literally, before Jesus came along. God was busy. There was a lot of stuff going on in the Old Testament.
I'll probably get to the New Testament eventually.
It ain't gonna be as good though, but
it's not
you know,
as good. The Old Testament is scandalous as hell. Like there's just so much scandal. It's not even funny. There's a lot to work with, as they say.
So much shade and duplicity. It's just ridiculous. So Doc, I told you I wasn't gonna call you Doc. So Barbara, we have probably about 2-3 minutes before the IG police starts to hate and count me down because they're only doing this in 1 hour intervals. So what should our takeaway be when we purchase Perspectives and read it? What should we expect? And what should our takeaway just be in general with the perspective the book gives us from these women and also in life? Because you did tell me a nugget yesterday when we postponed the show. You said that Sodom was based off of America. Your
Yep.
Sodom. So if you
Yep.
could speak to that, and then we'll close out this hour.
That seems so appropriate with everything that happened yesterday. So there's a point where there's a piece of land near Sodom that is nicer than the land that Abraham and Lot and Sarah and Hagar, Ado, they're all living together in one place. And there's a piece of land that's nicer over closer to Sodom. And Ado sort of jockeys to live there because she likes urban life. She's from the city. She wants to get back to the city. Hagar being from Egypt, it's almost like if you were talking to somebody who's from like Hong Kong or Canada, right? Egypt was leaps and bounds beyond what Sodom was, you know, architecturally, as far as sophistication. It's a way, way more advanced city. And so she was believing that would be a place she could go and love. Hagar was. But when she finally got to visit there, it was like, you're leaving Hong Kong, you've never been to America, and you come to America expecting this beautiful opulence, and there's slums, and there's ratchet trailer parks where people don't even have running water, and there's like a lot of sex trade stuff going on, and people are getting murdered left and right. And there's like a disregard for life. People don't have any kind of morals or values. People are all about the money. They don't give a damn about hurting people to get it. It just sort of smacks her in the face. And she's like, dang, I'm glad we didn't move over here. But I 100% pretty much modeled it off of America. The whole subjugation of women thing, wanting to control their bodies, all of that. It's just, if you read the book, you'll see America when you read about it. You'll be like, shoot, that's here. But it's important to understand that that's where we are. I think a lot of us were brainwashed with the whole greatest country in the world thing. You live in the greatest country in the world. You should feel grateful to be in America. Like, this is a great, great place. It's wonderful, right? But no, it's really Sodom. You know, I mean, there's great things about it. There's some cool things, and the book talks about that too. Some of the best entertainment you can find, some of the wealthiest people, some of the best fashion, lots of fun to be had, strip clubs, parties, you know, whatever. They had it in Sodom. They got the party. Ado's first party she went to there was lit off the chain, crazy.
It really was, yeah.
Like,
there were people getting busy in other corners of the palace and everything. It was. I'm surprised you didn't say someone was snorting something. But yeah, it was that.
Well, I wasn't sure if they had coke back then, but they did take whatever that was in that vial that Apithia had. They did take things. That.
Yes.
I say that was the equivalent of Molly.
Yeah. They had things. That's all I'll say to that. And no, it's well done, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. And to quote a wise man, prophet, the honorable prophet Chris Rock, he said, "America is like the uncle that paid to put you through school, but he molested you." And if you're a black person or a woman or what have you, an oppressed people, that's probably how you feel about America. And that's where we are.
That's exactly where we are. Thank you for doing this, Shawn. I appreciate you, man.
No, thank you for doing this, because I think we need accessible, R-rated ways to get into the Bible without people saying, "Ooh, Bible thumper, ew." It ain't even about Bible thumping. It's like, this is how you absorb things as an adult. You know,
right.
Don't just take the things that you read. Really understand what you're reading. Really understand what was going on, and personalize these people. Make them people. You were able to read the Frederick Douglass Ida B. Wells play. My whole thing was like, all right, we keep talking about Frederick Douglass, the great Black American, but we don't know anything about him. We don't know his foibles, his failures, all that stuff. And that was what I wanted to do. And I think that's what is great to do through these women's eyes with the Bible. And I can't wait for the sequel as well. So congratulations.
Stonecatcher's coming in about October.
That's a great title. You can catch this stone, man.
The Shawn Show is brought to you by BodyButterBakery.com. Visit www.bodybutterbakery.com for new products, including our new body scrubs, including scents like strawberry lemonade, mango and pineapple, and champagne apple and honey. Visit bodybutterbakery.com today through Memorial Day weekend for 30% out site-wide. bodybutterbakery.com, a proud sponsor of The Shawn Show.